Okay, we're up to Daf Gimel Amid Aleph and the Berachos. We're beginning on the base. We're discussing the halachas of when Kriya Shema begins and when Kriya Shema ends. We had big machlokas Tanoim, and in the previous brisa, Rabbi Meir had said that the time that they begin Kriya Shema Shal Arvis is the time the Kahanim go to be toivel. On that, Rabbi Yehuda said the Kahanim are toivel by Yom. So we begin 4 lines up from base on the base. Amamar. Rabbi Yehuda. Kahanim, they go to the mikvah during the day. Since they go during the day, obviously that's not Zman Shchiva. Again, the Zman of Kriya Shema is totally in the pasuk with Shach B'chovu Kamecha. So it's not Zman Shach, because it's not Zman Shchiva when you lie down during the day. So obviously, how can you be Kriya Shema at that time? So Shat to Kamalei Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Meir, L'chari is saying very good. Gemara says no. Rabbi Meir Hachi Kamalei. Misabris Tano Aben Hashmashas Litoch Kamina. Ano Aben Hashmashas Rabbi Yossi Kamina. We got a machloikis later on in the Masechta between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi exactly when Ben Hashmashas began. Rashi brings that Rabbi Yehuda says that Ben Hashmashas begins at the time a person can walk half a mil before it says like a chavim. Obviously, that's still day. Rabbi Yossi says it's like a heref ayin. It's like a blink of an eye before it says. So it says Rabbi Meir to Rabbi Yossi, you think that what? Man Toivel is your Ben Hashmashas while it's still daytime? No, I hold like Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi's heref ayin. It says like a chavim. That exactly is right. Soymich l'zman shchiva, and therefore what will be the zman of Kriya Shema Shal Arvis. So the Rabbi Yossi coming. I know Rabbi Yossi ben Hashmashas keref ayin. Zenichnas zeyotzer. The day goes, this comes, and therefore v'yev shalam love. It's not possible to go ahead and discern the difference. Fred Gemara kasha the Rabbi Meir on the Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Meir, there's 2 brises. Rabbi Meir says in the latter brisa, he says that the kahanim are toivel to eat their truma, which we said is about to say like a chavim. In the first brisa, he says, "Bnei Adam lechol piton," when they go ahead and eat their bread, which is a time that's later than the zman of the kahanim. And for the Gemara, the 2 brises are not contradictory. You have 2 tanoim reportedly report Rabbi Meir said. One reported based upon the kahanim, one reported based upon Bnei Adam. Same kasha, similar kasha the Rebbe Loza ad the Rebbe Loza. Rebbe Loza, and our Mishnah says that from the time of what? The time of Kahanim Mechdas Lechut Shumasan, which is says like a chavim, and the second brisa in the brisa says the time that person is Mekadosh Hayoim, which is clearly before Ben Hashmashos. It says like a chavim. Says the same time it's Trey Tanoya Lebedrev Eliezer. You have 2 Tanoyim according to Rebbe Eliezer, both reporting what they heard, and therefore it's not contradictory. Another teretz by same a second teretz Reish Shalav the Rebbe Eliezer. The Reish is not Rebbe Eliezer. The assumption was when we go back to our Mishnah. When it says "Me'emes Karna Shema Ba'arvis," Mishosha Kanim Nachal Trumasan at Soifam Ashmur Rishayna Divrei Rebbe Eliezer. The Havamina is that Rebbe Eliezer said both statements. He said the statements of Seis HaKachavim based upon the Kahanim being going to eat their truma, and the statement of when it ends at Soifam Rishayna. In fact, no, he's only addressing the when it ends. It's the words of the Tanakama that says that it starts with Seis HaKachavim when the Kahanim go ahead and toivel to eat their truma. Rebbe Eliezer never said that. All he was commenting on was when it ends. Therefore, it's not shver. Gitaka holds it. When does it start? It's much Kiddush Hayoim, when you're Kiddush Hayoim of Shabbos. Okay, at Soif Hashmur Rishayim. Now, there's machloikus in the Gemara. How many watches there are to the night are there? The 12 hours broken up into 4 or 3s. So at Soif Hashmur, my kasava. What does Rebbe Eliezer hold? My kasava Rebbe Eliezer. Ikasava shloishim mishmaras havalayla. If he holds sharas mishmaras havalayla, that it's 3 halakim of 12. In other words, each shmar is 4, and on a perfect day starting at 6 p.m. So it would end at 10 p.m. So say until 4 hours. Why are you giving this vague until Ashmar Rishayna? Who knows when that is? Just say 4 hours. And if you're going to say the 4, right, and therefore each chelik is 3 hours, right? Same thing, 3 hours. So why does he go ahead and give the cryptic Arashmar Rishayim? And Gemara Loyum Ksava Shalish Mishmaris. He holds there what? There are 3, and each one is a chelik 4 broken up into 4 hours. Shalish Mishmaris Have Laila. V'Hakamash Malam by saying Ashmaira is to tell us the Ikim Mishmaris Barakia, the Ikim Mishmaris Ba'arba. There are Ashmaris in Shemayim, and we'll see exactly what those occurs at those times, and the Ashmaris on this earth. So the Ashmaris on this earth correspond to the Ashmaris that are transpiring in Shemayim. The Tanya, Rebbe Eliezer, Shalish mishmaros have alayla. There are 3 mishmaros in the night. Kol mishmar mishmar, and each one, Yoshev HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'shoyek kari. Kadosh Baruch Hu sits literally and roars like a lion. Shnemar, Hashem Mimoram Yishog, Hashem from Mimoram from on high, he roars. Umim Kat Shoyim, from his holy abode, Yitin Kala Shoyeg, a second lashon of Shoyeg, and Yishag al Navehu. So you have a third lashon of Yishag. So it goes and for a third time. So therefore, these times that the Kadosh Baruch Hu is being Shoyeg, he's showing on the Churban bias, the fact that the Beis Hamikdash is destroyed. And these are the time that Kadosh Baruch Hu Kaviyachol is in pain for that. He's roaring in pain. Therefore, by saying this, Ashmar in this world, those correspond to those 3 times in Shemayim when the Kadosh Baruch Hu is roaring. The similar davar, Mishmar Rishayna Chamor Noi. How do you know a simon in this world when it's happening in Shemayim? So the first is when the Chamor Noer, when the donkey brays. Shnia Kalovim Tsayakim. The second one is where the dogs are barking. And Shlishis, and the third Mishmar is Tinoik Yoinik Mishtei Imoy, a child nurses, the Isha Misaperis and Baila, and the woman speaks to a husband. And the woman speaks to a husband. Says the Gemara, Michael Choshev Rebellias. Eat Chilis Mishmar Kachoshev. If he's speaking at the beginning of the Mishmar, the Chilis Mishmar Rishayna, Simana Lamali. Why do you need a simon? Urtahu. We know it begins what? In the evening. So as soon as it becomes evening, that's the time of Ashmar Rishayna. He's Soif Mishmar is Kachoshev, and if he's considering the end of a Mishmar, in other words, if you're considering the beginning of the Mishmar, it's a time where the beginning of the night, because then it extends 4 hours. And if you're considering what the end of the Mishmar, Chashiv, Soif Mishmar Achroin Alamali, then why do you have to give the last one? We would know exactly when the last one goes ahead and transpires, because Simani Yamalahu, when it turns daytime at 6 a.m. in a perfect day. Ela Chashiv Soif Mishmar Rishayna, Utechilas Mishmar Achroina, Siyasa Am Siyasa. So it must be the first one is considering in the end, so therefore you don't know when it begins. The last one is considering in the beginning, so therefore you don't know when it begins. And therefore, he gives the simanim of speaking when a woman speaks to a husband, or a donkey braying, and the mishmar is the dogs are barking. It's the middle of the middle mishmar. By saying no, he's not considering end. He's not considering end, beginning, middle, beginning. He's considering all the ends. I've considered the ends. Why you have to give a simon for the last one? You know it's when it's the morning. In order to go ahead and learn Kriya Shema when a person's in a dark house and he doesn't know when to go ahead and lane, so he would know at the time when people start speaking to each other. And you must keep in the Ishim Separis where a person, a woman speaks to her husband and nurses, right? Like in Balikri, get up and daven Kriya Shema Shel Shachris. Okay. Rabbi Yitzchak by Shmuel, Mishmei Derav, Gimel Mishmaros have a Laila. There are 3 mishmaros to the night. I'll call Mishmar Yosef Kadosh Baruch Hu v'Shoyeg Kariya. Each one of Kadosh Baruch Hu is roaring like a lion. V'Oimer Oy Lebonim, woe to the children. Shabon v'Sehem Hechraftias Basi. In their various, I've destroyed their house. V'Seraftias Hechali, and I burnt my Hechel. It's redundant. So the Torah Chaim says Seraftias Hechel is going on the Shechina leaving and destroying the house is what is the burning of the opposite. That Hraftias Basi is when a Kodesh Baruch Hu left. So in other words, if a Kodesh Baruch Hu is not there, all you have is the edifice. So therefore, that's considered what the Churban bias. The Churban is gone. It's very meduyak, right? That in Gemara in Gittin, where Rabbi Yochanan and Zakkai did not ask to save the Beis Hamikdash because he knew the Shechina had left in steps. So there was no Shechina anymore. Since there was no Shechina anymore, so therefore there's no reason to go ahead right and there was no Shechina there in the beginning, in the second bias anyway, like the first bias, but nonetheless, that whatever kedusha there was gone. Therefore, we didn't ask for it. So to over here, the distortion of what of Echraftias Basi by leaving, and then the Seraftias Echoli is the actual burning of the edifice. So we're burning it. And I've gone ahead and I've regarded them to the mother world. So the very, very esoteric idea of Kodesh Baruch Hu be Shoyim Kari. So I found a marsha, a beautiful marsha that I'd love to share with you. The Marsha Pirish is Gimel Siman Melo. Kodesh Baruch Hu, the Marsha explains these 3 simanim. Sheim Keneged Gimel Chelki HaNeshama Sheish LaAdam. The Keneged, the 3 parts of a person's neshama. What are the 3 parts? Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama. All the actions of a person are drawn after either the nefesh, ruach, or the neshama. The material needs of a person and the material and the attainment of them, that comes from the nefesh, and which is nimshach after the goof part of man. Man is made up of two parts: the soul and the body. So the nefesh is the chelik of the neshama, which seems to go ahead and support the body. During the first watch, the first 4 hours, a man comes from the field and he sits down to take care of his physical needs. He eats and he drinks, which are physical needs. Amar love, we say on that, chamor nar. We say on that what the chamor brays. The chamor is a symbol of the beast of burden. Mishmar shniya, the second mishmar, the next 4 hours. Shekvar yashina adam, he's already sleeping. He doesn't go after what his bodily needs. And this is the hour of the day where the ruach is in charge. David Melech writes, in your hands I've entrusted my ruach. This is the part that goes to HaKadosh Baruch Hu when we go ahead and sleep. And this is the time where the ruchos and the mazikim, different creatures of the night, go ahead and they're in business. Because that's the time of the ruchos being sholet ruling. That's the time where the dogs bray. When the dogs are braying, the Malach Mavis is in the city. And that's why that's why they were what? They were rewarded, because at the time when the masik was out, right? That was the time that the dogs normally would go ahead and bark. So the first one, the nefesh, is chamar braying, is connected the chaymer of the person, that's symbolized by the nefesh. The second watch is symbolized by the sleeping and the ruchos ruling over the world, and by the dog that is barking because he's margish these ruchos. And the latter 3 hours, after 8, the latter from 8 to 12, adam, he's at rest. And now his mind is clear, and the tefillah he can daven, he can learn, because that's the pool of the neshama. So keneged zeh tinik yonik mishdei imay, the child nurses, remez l'Torah shnemar aleha daideha yarucha b'chol eis. Right, that's the yonik from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'chein ishim is a person bailo remez l'knesses Yisrael. It's a remez to Klal Yisrael shema saperes b'tefillah for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The speaking to a woman speaking to her husband kaviyachol. Klal Yisrael speaking to HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'tefillah u'mevakesh al kol tzarchi mimenu, and we ask for all our needs. So it says the Marsha quite beautifully, esoterically, the three watches are connected, the three pulas. The first one is the nefesh, which is symbolized by the bodily needs and the chamar being braying. The second part is the ruach, which is symbolized by the dogs barking. And the third part is the neshama. The neshama, that is the dvar ruchni, that goes ahead and asks for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, dams HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That obviously is after we have a full night's sleep, and we're zach, and we're clean, and our minds are pure, and we can think things out. A beautiful marsha to explain a very esoteric Gemara. Says the Gemara weiter. Tanya, I'm Rabbi Yossi. Pamachas hayisi mahalech b'derech. One time I was going on the way, and ichnasti l'churva achas mechurvas Yerushalayim, and I entered one of the churvas of Yerushalayim. I went into one of the churvas of Yerushalayim, the spalo, for the purpose of davening. Boy Eliyahu zach latoiv, because Eliyahu came along, the shamali and ala pesach, and he waited for me by the door. Actually, siyamti tefilasi until I completed my tefillah. After I went ahead and completed my tefillah, Amali said to me, Shalom Aleichem Rebbe. I said, he said to me, Shalom Aleichem Rebbe. Eliyahu Rabbi Yossi. This is Rabbi Stam Yossi in Shas is Rabbi Yossi ben Chalafta. We have Rabbi Yossi Aglili, and usually he's called Rabbi Yossi Aglili to go ahead and contrast him with Rabbi Yossi. Stam Rabbi Yossi is Rabbi Yossi ben Chalafta. V'amati loy Shalom Aleichem Rebbe Umayri, and I retorted to him, Shalom Aleichem Rebbe Umayri. V'amali said, Beni. Why'd you go into the churva? So Amatilo, I told him, I went for the purpose of davening. But Amali told me, You should have davened on the way. For Matiloy, I said, Misyaria, you see Shem Yivsku be Derachim. They'll go ahead and they'll be mafsik me, the people who are passing by. So I want to go to a quiet place. Then you should have davened a tefillah ketzara, which we're going to see later on, is Havinenu. Taisus asks, Havinenu, Abai used to curse anyone who said the tefillah of Havinenu, which consists of the 3 first brachas, the 3 latter brachas, and a abridged version of the middle brachas. So the Gemara says over there, no. Right over here, that's when you're davening in the city saying Havinenu. But if you're in the way, in the Sada, then it'll be permitted. At that time, I heard from him what? 3 things. I learned from him that you don't go into a churva. I learned that you could daven on the way. So I said, so 3 things. Don't go into a churva, you can daven on the way, and you can say it's tefillah ketzara. Right? What churva did you hear in this? What did you hear? Exactly what did you hear? Amali Beni, Ma Kol Shemat Bechorva. Rabbi Eliyahu Hanavi asked Rabbi Yossi Achalafta. He said, then Chalafta, he said, what did you hear in the churva? Shemati Bas Kol. I heard he Bas Kol Shemina Hemes Kiyayna. It was cooing like a dove. For Oimrim, and says Oile Bonim Shabanoseihem Echrafti Espesiv Surafti Eseichali Beglisim Lebena Umos. So it's interesting. The Gemara before said that Kadosh Baruch Hu is shoyig kari, and he said this: "Woe to my children that are nebuch, that I had to destroy the Beis Hamikdash and the Galus." And over here, maybe he says that's cooing like a dove. So I saw a beautiful pshat. He says when it was nevuah direct, when it was direct nevuah, then it was what? Then it was like an ari. But a baskol, which is less of a level, or basically was not way after the time of the Nevi'im, then that sound came like the cooing of a dove rather than the roar of a lion. Amali, Rabbi Eliyahu Hanavi told Rabbi Yossi, Chayecha v'chay v'yishchecha lashon shvua lo shazu b'levaday meres kach ela b'chol yom b'yom shloisha pamim, each 3 times a day, the 3 ashmeres meres kach lo yazu b'vad ela b'shosh yisrael nechnasim l'beisi that the Knesset the Batim Midrash is the time that people go into the base Knesset and the Batim Midrash is loinem yeheshmei hagadol mevarach. Because Baruch Manei Roisha, because Baruch Hu shakes his head. Loimer Ashrei Melech Shemekal Samoisad the Beislei. Fortunate is the Melech that the children praise him in his house. Kach Mali Laavsha Higlas Banav. If this is what for the Oilahem, the Banim Shagola Me'al Shulchan Abiyam. This is that they praise despite the fact that their father sent the Golas and wrote to this child that is away from the Churban the Bias. So Tosis brings over here the Lashon of Yeshmei Gadol. He brings a Machsavitri that it says at the end of Parshas B'Shalach that Kiyod al Kes Kah, Kadosh Baruch Hu's throne, his name is not complete, and therefore you say Machsavitri says Yeheshmei Rabbah in order to complete his name. Tosis, however, says Avanir Kedamin B'Seif Saita Ein Oilam Eskayim Ela Asidra de Kedusha. The world stays because of Volatzia and Goyel. That's the Sidra de Kedusha. The Heshmei Rabbah the Basa Agadata. The Heshmei Rabbah that we say after Agadata. Shayu Regilam Loima Kadesh Achat Drasha. It would be custom to say, like we say, Chanayim and Akasha, to go ahead and say the Bar Torah, and then we accompany the Bar Torah is the Shabbos, is the Kaddish the Rabbanon. The Sham Hoya Ami Aratzis, right, and the Amratzim over there. The Lechoya Mavinam Kulam Lashon Kodesh, and the Amratzim did not understand Lashon Kodesh. The Kach Tiknu B'Lashon Targum. That's why we say Kaddish in Lashon Aramaic in order that the Amratzim that were there, that they were listening to the Agoda, they should have the discourse of understanding. Because they would understand it. So Taisus brings the reason that the Heshmei Rabbah is written in Lashon Kodesh is because that the Amratzim should understand. There's a pshat I saw from the Torah, right? The Torah has a pshat in Siman Nun Vav that Yisrael. However, as opposed to Taisus says that it's written in Aramaic that the people who the Amaratzim should understand. The Torah in Siman and Vav says that. So we say Heshmei Rabbah, we know HaKadosh Baruch Hu was in pain. The fact that we're in Galus and that woe to the father who had to destroy the Beis Hamikdash. Of course, it's pain to Kaviyach HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Malachim are upset at us, so therefore we say Heshmei Rabbah in Aramaic that they should not understand because the Malachim do not understand Aramaic. They do not understand Aramaic. Okay, very geschmack. Continuing the look. Rabbanan. Three reasons a person should not enter a churva. Because of the chashad of snus, maybe they're with the zayna. Chashad mifnei hamapoiles, that it may fall down on them. Mifnei hamazikin, chashad because of mazikim, demons, shadim, different things. Be aware, we're going to get into the sugya of mazikim. As a preface, there's a Tosfos in Daf Yoma, Daf Ayin Zayin Amid Aleph, that says clearly, Bisman Hazeh, we don't have to worry about Ruach Ra and Gilui and Sugos and mazikim. What's the chashad? The table Mishem Apolis. Why do you have to worry about a chashad of snus? Let's worry about my pilus. It says no, it's a new churva. No, it's basically the wall is intact, it's strong, it's not going to fall down. Therefore, the only thing you worry about is snus. The table Mishem Mazikim, right? So let's go ahead and be worried about Mazikim. So why chashad? It says no, betray the two people. So the two people, Mazikim are talking about the two people. It's a new wall, and therefore it's not going to fall down. The only chashad is nus. Right? Gemara, you betray chashad nami leka. Why do you worry about two people? You shouldn't be worried about snus. The Gemara says no betray a pritzi. Two men will prutzim. Therefore, even two men, you have to worry about snus. They are mapilas. Right? The Gemara typically mishum chashad and mazikim. So why do you worry about falling down? Say it's because of chashad and mazikim. It says betray with kishrik. Right? It's what it's betray with two people. And therefore you don't have to worry about mazikin. But kshiri and two kosher people, therefore you don't have to worry about chashad. But since it's an old wall, you'd have to worry about why it's falling down. Mazikin, the table mishum chashad mapoiles. Mazikin, let's worry about what chashad mapoiles says. No b'chur v'charati. With sheva kshiri. So since it's a chur v'charati, it's brand new. You don't have to worry about mapoiles. Since you're two people, you don't have to worry about mazikin. Since kshiri trade two people, right? You don't have to worry about mazikin. The kshiri, since they're kosher, then why you don't have to worry about snus, since they're fine fellows. Fred the Gemara, even betray mazikim nami leka. Says and even two people in the makam of the mazikim we have to worry about, and if that's their abode. And I guess they by a churva, that's what they are. Saying okay, we're speaking about one person and a churva charati in a new wall. So you don't have to worry about my poilis, and you would have to worry about mazikim because only one person. The koy b'dabra, one speaking where what in the river. It's in the midbar. The Hasam Mishum Chashad Leka, because no woman's going to be in the midbar. The Aisha B'Dibra L'Shchicha Mishum Mazikim Nika, because Mazikim you'd have to worry about. Since you're one person, you don't have to worry about Pilis because it's in the wall. You have to worry about Mazikim because there's one person. You don't have to worry about what? About Snus because the woman's not going to be found in the wilderness. Abor Mishmaras Chayv. We said Machlekes earlier. Is it made up of 3 nights of 4? We said Rabbi Eliezer said it's made up of 3. Of three watches of 4 apiece, and we have machlokes here in the Gemara. Arba mishmaras havelayla. There are 4 in fact. Divrei Rebbe. These words are Rebbe. Reb Nosson Omer Shalosh. That's like Rebbe Eliezer. Like Reb Nosson 3. My time in the Reb Nosson that there's 3. The Chsiv Vayovay Gidoin. We spoke in Sefer Shoftim. Gidoin is coming to fight. It says Vayovay Gidoin Umei Ish Asher Itoi B'Ktzei HaMachne. They came into the Ktzei of the Machne. Roisha Ashmura Hatichoin at the beginning of the middle watch. Tana ain't the choynela sheyesh lefanel achreha. So that lechayev, it's the middle watch. If there's a middle, there must be a beginning and an end. So if the middle is number 2, there must be a 1 and a 3, and therefore that's the right Reb Nosson that there are 3 mishmaras. Rebbe Rebbe says, what is tichoyna achas? Menatichoyna shebetichoynes. It means one of the middle 2. Since there's 4, it means one of the middle 2. Reb Nosson miksiv tichoyna shebetichoynes doesn't say one of the middle one. No, tichoynes. It says stamach tichoynes, which is the middle one, and not one of the 2 middle ones. My time with the Rebbe, what's the reason Rebbe holds this 4? So I'm Rabbi Srika, I'm Rabbi Ami, I'm Rabbi Shub and Levi, again, the names are important because we're going to bring other opinions, other members, and the names of Rabbi Srika said in the name of Ami and Rabbi Shub and Levi. One pasuk says, Chatzais halayla, Akim l'hoydus l'cho, al mishpetz kecha. David HaMelech writes, at half the night, I rise to thank you, al mishpetz kecha, because of Echadomer, kidmu einai ashmoyros. My eyes, they came before the ashmoyros. Ashmoyros is mashma what? 2. Chad, okay, so how do you go and reconcile chatzois and my eyes came before 2? Says the Gemara Ketzad, Abba Mishmaris Ave Laila. There are 4 mishmaris to the night. So if you woke up at chatzois, he beat 2 of them. Reb Nosson Savalak Reb Yeshua, the Tan Reb Yeshua, Aimer at Shalosh Shoyes, at 3 hours a day. She came derech malachim lam Shalosh Shoyes. The kings would get up what 3 hours in the day. How do you get the 3 hours in the day? Sheish the Laila, you have the 6 of the night. Betarti the Yamama, and 2 of the day. Total of 8 hours. Havile shtei mishmaris, which is 2 mishmaris, 4 and 4. Rav Ashi Yom Mishmar Palganam Mishmar is Karele. Even one Mishmar and a half would be called a Mishmar. So you have no raya that what it's Mishmar 4. It could be a Mishmar of 3. Again, the names were important. Here's another memory which has nothing whatsoever to do with Kriya Shema and nothing to do with what we've been discussing till now. However, this is the memory in Shas of Rabbi Zrika in the name of Ravami and the name of Shulman Levi. Ein oim mefnei hameis, ela devarav shel meis. In front of a mace, you only can say the things that are pertinent to the mace, nothing else, right? Now, when it says speaking and learning, less number is not a problem. You can't speak. Okay, now what's this holding in? Let's see. Twice this over here. Ein oimim ifnei hameis el devar shel meis. The pasuk of Alphys, the Rif Paskins Mishum Rav Hai in the name of Hai Goin. Dafke divrei Torah. Dafke divrei Torah you cannot say in front of the mace. Aval devarim ba'alma less number, but less devarim ba'alma less number. And the reason is this: the Indian of loyig l'roish. Says the pasuk says loyig l'roish cherpa aseu. The person goes ahead and you're laughing at a person who's poor. You go to a cemetery, you have your tzitzis out. You're making a statement that look, you're lying in the grave. You can't be kind of midst of tzitzis. Thus, the halacha that or the minute that people take the tzitzis and put it in a cemetery. So go ahead and speak in Torah in front of a mace. You'll be laughing at the mace, saying, you know what? You can't speak the Torah. You could speak. Okay, Reb Kiva Ega over here at Seichens at Tosfos in Baba Kama Daf Tesvav, and that's describing that they put on the kever of Chizkiyahu Melech. They put a yeshiva there. How could they put a yeshiva there? After all, you just told me that you can't say in front of a mace the Torah. So how is that possible? Says Reb Kiva Ega, Shleil Kivrei Manish, Ela Brachik Daled Amis. It was Daled Amis away from the kever. It shouldn't be what, like laughing at the poor person. Rabbeinu Peretz cuss out. However, the Misha and Rabbeinu Peretz, Shekimashu Her B'Torah, since Chizkiyahu was Mar B'Torah, the Gemara tells us in the days of Chizkiyahu, Midon Bar Bet Sheva, even the smallest kid knew the Allah is a Tumah B'Torah, so he was successful in being Mar B'Torah. He had so much Torah that you learning in front of him is not a Leik L'Rosh. Kilamina Shebatum Midon Bet Sheva, the Yesh Rishonim Shekasvu, since this yeshiva was made for the covet of Chizkiyahu, so it's a very important this nakuda. If something is done for the cover of the nifter, that's not loig l'rosh. The cost of Beis Yosef, the Beis Yosef in Torah writes, "Shal zeh slimchim hashoimim tehillim ala kfarim." How could you go ahead and say, aren't you loig l'rosh by saying tehillim by the keva? Alama, since it's the cover the nifter that we say at tehillim, therefore it's permitted based upon this teretz that they put a kever, they put a yeshiva on the kever of Chizkiyahu, and since that it was l'kfaydai, it was permitted. Thus, our heta to go ahead and be say tehillim by the kever of a nifter. Very geschmack. Back in the Gemara. Says the Gemara. The David the Palga the Laila Habikoi. It says David got up that Chatzos Alayla. He says Me'urta Habikoi. He got up earlier in the evening. Ichsiv Kadamti by Neshef Yishaveya. I got up before the Neshef and I cried out to you. How do you know this Neshef is the beginning of the evening? Ichsiv by Neshef Be'erev Yoim Be'ishan Laila Ba'afela. So you see that it's the beginning of the night. That's what David was saying. It doesn't mean I got up at Chatzos. It means I never was sleeping by Chatzos. So therefore, I got up by Yorta, and by Chatzos I wasn't sleeping. That's one teretz. He would get up, but he was misnaming, he was slumbering. Kisus, like a horse. And then at the Chatzos Halayla, then he got up like a lion. So when it says that Kadamti Meneshev Ashea, he was up, but not totally. When it says that he got up by Chatzos, then he got up like a lion. Until Chatzos he would learn. He would go ahead and write to, I guess he would write to Hillim, in songs and praise of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Finding more of a Neshev Urtahu, you want to say Neshev is Urta, is the evening. High Neshev Tzafrahu, in fact, Neshev is the morning. Vayakim David, It says by Amalek, by Yakim David Mineshev at Erev, David smote them from the beginning to the evening. The Machrosam, my love mitzafra of the Neshev ad Laila, says Malay, from one evening to the next. So it means Yihachi Fred Gemara that only means evening. Lichtav mi Neshev ya Neshev. Be consistent. Why do you could go ahead and say Mineshev ad Erev? Why are you changing the lashon? Be consistent in the lashon. You're right. The Neshev can mean one or two things. Neshev Laila, Vyasa Imama, Neshev Imama, Vyasa Laila. It depends on the context. If it's the day, Neshev of the day or the Neshev of the night. How is it possible that David knew when it was the evening? Hashda Moshe Rabbeinu lahavayada. Moshe Rabbeinu did not know. The Chsiv kachatzois halayla says by Makas Bechor is like kachatzois leichatzois halayla. And he yotze b'tech Mitzrayim. My kachatzois ilem d'amalei kudshe brichu kachatzois. If you're going to tell me HaKadosh Baruch Hu said what? Kachatzois. Miyikas fake kami shemayim like chatzois. No like chatzois. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the ultimate atomic clock. He knows exactly when time is, right? So of course he's going to go ahead and mamish be mamish chatzois. Ela d'amalei bachatzois. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, I'm going to be bachatzois. And Moshe went ahead and said kachatzois. The Gemara will discuss how can Moshe change. Alma misafkele that when Moshe changed and he said kachatzois, it must be that what he was mesupik. So therefore, how could David know better than Moshe Rabbeinu exactly when chatzois was? Did David have a yada? Says and for the Gemara, David siman havadei. David had a simon exactly when chatzois was. There was a keener, there was a harp that was suspended over David's bed. And he would go ahead and invert the harp, and it seems that it would blow in the holes of the harp. Again, we picture a harp without holes. It seems that there were holes in this harp, and it could be facing the north. So when the north wind would blow, it would go and enter. And it would play by itself. So he had the original alarm clock. David would get up and I guess this agrees with what we said above that until Chatzos is Isaac and Torah. And then afterwards, there seems to be saying that he's Isaac and Torah Chatzos. Once the morning star came up, that again we said it was between 70 to 90 minutes before it says. The Chachmei Yisrael would come to David. They need parnasa. Let them take care of each other. So it's not enough. The kaimitz that you take like for a mincha, that little part, the analogy, you cannot feed a lion. There's not enough to feed the lion, to feed all of Klal Yisrael. And if you go ahead and dig out the pit, and you put it back, it's not going to fill up the pit. Okay, there are gedud, there are bands of Amalekim. Go ahead and get together, fight with them, and then you'll get the spoils, and you'll have enough to feed the people. They would take Eitz of Achitophel, who was David's advisor, and the Melachim of Sanhedrin. Then they would go ahead and he would take question the Sanhedrin, the Shoyin Labor and V'Tumim, and the Esther and V'Tumim. Rabbi Yosef, my Korah has the pasuk that this was the pecking order first Achitophel, then Sanhedrin, then the one V'Tumim. It says V'Achrei Achitophel, and after Achitophel in David's cabinet, B'Nayo ben Yoyada, V'Avyasar V'Avyasar, the Sartzavol Melech was Yoav. Achitophel, what was his job? Say Yoyetz, he was David's advisor. Asking the advice of Achitophel in those days was what it was like asking the Bar Hashem. Unfortunately, Achitophel was the grandfather of Bathsheba. He rebelled against David and he ended up killing himself at the age of 33 or 34, very, very young. We'll see that as Hashem. Ben Yoyada, he's in Sanhedrin, he's the head of Sanhedrin. He was in charge of the V'Tumim, he was the Kohen Gadol. Ben Yoyada was on the Krasi and Plasi. The words are very courts, and Plasi Shem Floyim b'Devayim. The words are very what? Wondrous. Rashi brings, what are we speaking about over here? That crazy places referring to the Torah. Shoyim Devarim Ktsuvim, things that are said to Gemurim. So there's no less than there's no more. In other words, the crazy place is referring to the Tumim. Rabbi Tam and Toysus says the crazy place is referring to Sanhedrin. When it says that the words were short and the Peladik the Psad was there, Hayra. Right? So therefore, the Achkat Sartzavol Melech was Yoav. After that, the Sartzavol Melech was what? Was Yoav. Amar Rav Yitzchak Bar Ada, Bimrilo Amar Rav Yitzchak Raider of Idi, Mikra. How do we know David got up with a harp? It says Ura Kavodi, Ura had navel, Vachina, Ayiru Shachar, I will go ahead and eat. I will greet. I will waken up before the Shachar. Thank you for listening. Have a good day.